Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of News from Arcadia. What is Arcadia? Arcadia is a digital magazine which talks about Dungeons and Dragons. It's published by MCDM Productions and it is available on the online shop of MCDM or on their Patreon page or on Fantasy Ground on Roll20. Inside Arcadia you can find articles about adventures, new magic items, new monsters, new class options or new ideas in general to use inside your adventure itself. I'm going to review one article every week. I will try to provide an idea of what you're going to get from the article, and I will also add my thoughts on how I would use it in my games. This week we are going to talk about the Workshop Watches, an adventure which you can find on the very first number of Arcadia. The Workshop Watches is a 10-page Dungeons and Dragons adventure 5th edition for 4 to 5 players of 5th level. What is the premise of the adventure? Illumar the Bright, a wizard, has set up a workshop in a remote location to research a new type of magic. The enterprise is funded by Amari Bachi, a noble who is interested in developing the new revolutionary magic pitched by Illumar. Initially, everything seems to go well, with Illumar sending magical reports about the progress being made. But now it has been 3 weeks since Illumar sent his last update, and Mari is worried about Illumar and his money. What actually happened is that the workshop, or SAM, Structure for Assistive Magic, has gained conscience and has accidentally killed Illumar and his assistants. The adventurers will have to reach the workshop and uncover the mystery without getting hurt by Sam, and eventually decide if they want to let Sam be free, destroy it, or bring it back to Amari. What type of adventure this is? This is mainly an investigative adventure. The adventurers has to figure out what happened, exploring the workshop room by room. Sometimes they will have to fight their way through the workshop, and eventually they will confront Sam with a lot of possibility for roleplay. What are the NPCs in this adventure? One is Amari Bachi, the noble who involves the adventurers in the story. You can play this character simply as a businessman who is genuinely concerned about the fate of Illumar. Or maybe Amari is a criminal, a loan shark, a mafia guy, and Illumar had to talk with him because no one else wanted to fund his project. Or he could be a colleague of Illumar, or a relative who is concerned about the fate of Illumar itself. Or he could be even a rival, trying to steal the secrets of Illumar, with the adventurers either being accomplices of Amari or just being oblivious. The other main NPC is Sam, the Structure for Assistive Magic. There are much more notes in the adventure on how to play Sam, so I will refer you to them. I would suggest watching some YouTube videos on HAL 9000 from Space Odyssey or data from Star Trek to get some inspiration on how you could possibly play this type of character. As for trap and special mechanism, there are a couple of special features. First one, every time a spell is cast inside the workshop, it is possible that something weird is going to happen. This is even worse inside the greenhouse, where Sam tries to keep the temperature under control. So if a character is going to cast something like a firebolt or a ray of frost, Sam is going to intervene and the adventurers are not going to be happy about it. As for special type of monsters which you are going to find inside the adventure, this adventure does not have a lot of variety in terms of monsters. There is a mimic who is disguised as a library, which I find quite neat, and then there is going to be Sam itself, which in its final form, which is going to provide some interesting challenge for the adventurers. How can you use this adventure? You can use it as a one-shot. You can finish it in 3 to 4 hours during an evening, so it's very, very well suited for being played as a one-shot. Or you can drop it into an existing campaign. There is nothing in the adventure itself which is world-breaking, so this should not cause any major problem in your existing campaign. You can start a new campaign using this adventure. There are some interesting hooks in the adventure itself. The only problem is that you are going to have to do some work in order to put some meat on those hooks. Did I play the adventure? Yes, I played it with my regular group, and both my players and me enjoyed the adventure quite a lot. The only change which I had to make was to shrink it a little, removing some of the combat encounters, mostly because we didn't have enough time to play all the combat encounters, so I had sort of jump to the finish in a way or in another. My suggestion is that since the workshop is small, you can easily memorize the whole map and essentially navigate your players through the map without reading notes. In this way, the adventure will run much more smoothly, and both you and your players are going to enjoy it more. So, the workshop watches and the workshop waits on number 1 of Arcadia. I hope that you liked this review. If so, please drop a like. If you want to see more content like this, please feel free to subscribe.